Hey guys, and welcome to another Animal Crossing video. I'm Crossing Channel, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about how the Roost could work if it returns to Animal Crossing New Horizons. As you guys know, the Roost is one of the most desired features to come back to Animal Crossing New Horizons, and Brewster is my favorite special character. I love the Roost, so I wanted to make a dedicated video about this building and about the character Brewster. You know, I've speculated about this a lot on the channel, but I've never made a fully dedicated video about it. So we're going to be taking a look at how it could work, looking at some of the data mines for New Horizons 2, showing actually how the Roost may work, and more. So if you guys are excited for this video, be sure to leave a like, and if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe and turn on channel notifications for more Animal Crossing videos. Now, first of all, I want to talk about how the Roost will actually look in New Horizons, how I think it's going to look and how it's going to work if it does come back. Now, I think it's basically going to look pretty much identical to how it looked in Animal Crossing New Leaf. I don't really think we're going to see any of the older designs, though there may actually be a good reason for it to look more like some of the older games, which I'm going to go over soon, but I think it looking like the New Leaf version is a safe bet. I really love this design from New Leaf. It is my favorite version of the Roost. I just think it's so cozy and great, but it also does kind of capture a more modern kind of cafe, you know, like a Starbucks, but of course we don't want it looking too much like Starbucks. This is Animal Crossing. So I reckon there'll be a nice little seating area for you and your friends to sit and enjoy a coffee. I just think it's going to be a really nice place. It'd be even better if you could actually decorate the inside of the Roost how you liked. That's kind of something I wish for most buildings in Animal Crossing, but sadly you can't do that, and I think that's probably pretty unlikely. But yeah, I think it's a pretty safe bet to think that it's going to look probably a lot more like how it does in New Leaf than previous games. This is how it looked in some of the older games, so City Folk and Wild World, and you know what? I do really like this design. It's really sort of classic, but at the same time, I much prefer the newer design from New Leaf. As you can see, this design from the older games does actually have a space for KK Slider to come and play on Saturdays, but I don't think he'll be playing here. Some people have speculated that maybe KK Slider could actually come to play here if the Roost does make a return, but I don't think that's going to happen, so I do think it'll look much more like the version from New Leaf. However, I did mention to you guys that there would be a good reason for it to look more like the older games rather than New Leaf, and that's the location of the Roost. So this is a really important thing to talk about. Data mines have kind of confirmed that the Roost will be located within the museum in Animal Crossing New Horizons. So there is evidence that the Roost will become a museum upgrade, where somewhere in the museum you'll be able to visit the Roost. This is what it was like in City Folk and Wild World, so I definitely think this could be the case again. It would make a lot of sense because I don't think this late into the game's life cycle they're going to add more outdoor buildings. I think that could really affect how some people have designed their islands, and I know some people don't care about that. They just want to see the Roost anyways. They want to see it as a separate building like it was in New Leaf. But according to the data mines, it is going to be within the museum, so if you've made a space for the Roost on your island, you know, maybe tuck that away. Obviously, we don't know for sure yet. Nintendo hasn't confirmed anything about the Roost as of me making this video, but I do think the data mines are most likely going to be right, as they have been with many other features, and that it's going to be in the museum. It also kind of mentioned that the gyroids could play some kind of part as well, so perhaps we'll be able to get our own little gyroid exhibit within the Roost. That's kind of what the data mines indicated, but we really don't know enough about this yet. But I just wanted to mention that because I felt like it could kind of connect it to the older games a bit more. Maybe the Roost could look more like how it did in those older games. But I still think the design is probably going to be closer to New Leaf, which is a good thing in my opinion because the New Leaf one is the best, I believe. But of course everyone has their favorite Roost, and I'd love for you guys to let me know in the comment section which of the Roost designs is actually your favorite. So yeah, it does seem very likely that we're going to see more museum upgrades rather than seeing a separate building for the Roost, which may be disappointing for some of you guys, but personally I just want to see the Roost return, so I'm not too fussed. Now I kind of wanted to talk about one of the really cool features that the Roost actually has, which is the ability to work there. You could work for Brewster once you've talked to him enough, and I thought that was a really cool thing. You could become your own barista in Animal Crossing, which was really great, and you could take the orders of all of the different villagers, and even some special characters too who would come and visit and wanted their coffee done a certain way. So you'd have to memorize these, or perhaps you could look online for a guide. You know, there's lots of different ways to do it. but I think it'd be really great to see this return. I don't think they would take this out. I definitely think they would bring this back because it's a really fun mini game, and it could be a cool way to get some of the more like cafe themed items for the game. They could add some new ones. They could bring back those iconic Brewster gyroids if they did introduce gyroids again. So I definitely think that we would see this mini game return. It gave you something new to do every day. I don't remember if you could literally work every day because the rewards were pretty good, and I think they kind of limited how much you could do it. But you could at least work once a day, I remember. So it was a lot of fun, and it was a really cool way to actually meet special characters who you didn't get to see so much. And that's going to bring me to my next point. So I actually think the Roost would be the way that we would meet special characters who have been removed from New Horizons. Characters like Harriet and such, who probably won't make a full-time return to New Horizons. So for all these characters that they removed who no longer really have a purpose anymore, let's say, you know, Chip, Nat, Joan, Harriet, all the characters that have kind of been replaced by either new features or new characters, I reckon they will come to the Roost to sit down like they did in previous games, and that's where you'll be able to meet them and discuss with them. Now, it might be a bit of a shame for some of you guys that these characters could only be cameos. I'm sure many of you want them to come back as full-time characters, but let's be honest, I think the odds of Harriet, for example, returning to open a hair salon when you can use the mirror is just not going to happen. I think Nintendo has moved more towards the convenience rather than having these characters and their buildings, which I do think is a shame, but I still think it would be nice to see them in the Roost again, where we could order, sort of, maybe they could order from us if we did the minigame, and also we could actually see them sit down and maybe have a little chat with them, and they could, you know, reference some of the older games. So I think this would be a really great way to bring back those older characters. Like, can you imagine if there was an update having the Roost and gyroids in it, which would be great enough, but then Nintendo sort of mentions how every week you can meet a new special character there. I think that would give players a lot of incentive to go visit the Roost very often, because not only would you have the new mini games, not only would you be able to buy coffee from Brewster and maybe donate gyroids to him, but you also would be able to meet those beloved special characters who are currently missing. And I just think that's something this game really needs, because the characters of Animal Crossing are so important. Now, even if you don't buy too much into datamines, and I will say these datamines have been very, very accurate in the past. There's obviously no date attached to them. We don't know exactly when the Roost is going to come, but it does seem very likely that it is scheduled to come. Nintendo actually has some dialogue for the Roost and Brewster within the game, and what's really interesting here is Clay saying, "I'm still wide awake. I guess Brewster was right, 17 cups of coffee is 3 too many." Clay is basically talking here like he literally had a conversation with Brewster, like Brewster is a character that we should know, but newer players of the game might not even know who Brewster is. So it seems to me like they included this dialogue with Brewster initially planned to be in the game, but then perhaps Nintendo decided, okay, we'll have this as a later update. And I definitely think that is true, that they want to add the Roost back in the future to sort of keep hype for the game, to sort of have it as a really big update to get people back playing the game, because the Roost would definitely attract a lot of attention. I think that would really excite people. And a really interesting thing here is Brewster's name is actually highlighted like he's an actual character in the game. There is some other dialogue in the game referencing older characters, but the names of the characters aren't highlighted. Brewster's name is actually highlighted here. So again, even if you don't buy too much into the datamine, even if you maybe believe the datamine is just, you know, referencing Brewster, but he's not actually coming back, the game itself does have dialogue for Brewster that you can see within your own game. So I think it is pretty obvious that he will come back and that the Roost will come back. We just don't know when. That's the sad part. We don't know when it's going to come back, but I think when the Roost finally does, it's going to be one of the most exciting updates for Animal Crossing New Horizons. Brewster was truly a great character, and a lot of people ask me, why do you like Brewster so much? Why do people care so much about the Roost and Brewster? And honestly, it was just such a lovely, chill place to go. It was really relaxing, and you could actually increase your friendship with Brewster. You could talk to him, and your friendship with him would increase. He would warm up to you, and that's something that's kind of rare in Animal Crossing, so I definitely want to see that return. I'd love for you guys to let me know down in the comment section below, do you think the Roost is going to return to Animal Crossing New Horizons anytime soon? If so, how would you like it to work in the game? Do you want it to be a separate building, or do you think it's okay for it to be in the museum like the datamine seems to suggest? Definitely let me know down in that comment section. By the way, I just wanted to mention that I do actually have new Crossing Channel merch designed by my artist, Charlie, And of course, it is the Bring Back Brewster merch. You can use the code BREWS21 to get 10% off, and you can check out the link to this in the video description. So please consider supporting the channel by repping this merch. It looks really great. If you want to help support my channel, click the join button down below the video to become a member of the Bob's Gang. You can get a whole bunch of cool perks for doing so, like exclusive emojis, a badge by your name that changes each and every month as you progress as a member, you can get featured at the end of all of my videos and more, so check it out. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed. If you did, be sure to subscribe and turn on those channel notifications so you can get notified when there's more Animal Crossing news and content. You can check out my links and my merch like I mentioned in the video description, and you can check out 2 videos on the right side of the screen as well. So thank you for watching, catch you in the next one.